How do we be direct but not reactive? Here are some A/B examples, reactiveness versus directness. If you're tuning in for my podcast, you might want to check out the YouTube version as well. Oh, was I confusing? Let me clarify. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I didn't know. I didn't know. And we do this through the trifecta of intention, breathing, and balance. The trifecta, intention, breathing, and balance. Basically, all it is always taking a moment, even if it's a micro moment, to pause, breathe, regulate before responding. Sounds simple, but most of us do. Most of us act from our reactive impulses. Eye-level balance is we don't speak with inferiority. We also don't speak with superiority. And the way that I define superiority, it's not about being confident, being the best. We're all the best. You can be the best. I can be the best, but that's the point. We don't want to come off like we're better than everyone else. Even if we feel like we have better skill sets, whatever, if we deliver things with a superior energy, people can sense it, feel it, and it's not attractive for them or ourselves, because when we're in this superior mode, we're using more force and more energy. So we want to avoid inferiority and superiority when we respond to people, and that is most of it. The more you get to know yourself, the more you practice breathing, regulation, meditation, you will know the difference between your flow versus your reactiveness. So that is what we want to catch. In these live moments, in the real-time moments, we just always, as we're engaging with people, we make this into our regular cadence, our natural cadence moving forward. And this is something you can make natural. Everything we want to do in life, whoever we want to be, however we want to express, in the end, it's just about intention, breathing, and balance. You just set your intention, even if it's things you want to improve on yourself and the way you speak, you practice until it becomes effortless. So we go from being precise in order to become effortless. So that's why, and for this, the precision in the beginning, precision. The precision in the beginning is just us practicing, incorporating a new dynamic in the ways that we speak, especially as we're practicing more regulation. And if we have been anxious bitches up to this point, we want this to become our norm moving forward. And again, this doesn't mean you can't speak fast or you can't speak slow. You can still speak however you want to speak. These are more so your checkpoints, so that when you do speak fast and slow, when you're ready, it will come out in the way that you want. So just in all moments, just like this, the way that we speak, we're going to just incorporate more consciousness naturally in the ways that we speak. So we're not masking. We don't enter into a social interaction with a mask on already, with our energy all up here, with this anxious energy. We enter with more consciousness all the time. Even if we're excited, we have more dynamics in the ways that we speak, and alert nonchalance, meaning I'm aware of it all, I see it all, I am very present with you as I'm speaking to you. But I feel good on the inside because my breath is always going. And even if we're talking about something more intense, or I am responding to you and maybe I'm even a little bit triggered, I can still show my emotions. I can be sharp or soft, but I'm always going to keep this breath going. And because I have these dynamics in my speech, where I naturally am already shifting between faster talking and then slower talking, I take breaths in between in my natural ways of speaking. And I am comfortable with pauses throughout this conversation. Even when I'm speaking, I'll incorporate some pauses here and there. When we make this our natural base, then this makes it much easier to catch ourselves before we speak, so we don't speak with inferiority or superiority from this unconscious reactive place. When we have those pauses and the breathing, we're just checking in with what is the goal of all of this again? What am I trying to do here? And sometimes I know the goal, but I don't exactly know how I'm going to navigate through this entire thing yet. So in those moments, I also will just choose to not speak yet. And eye-level balance is really just a balance between sharp and soft. Between sharp and soft on the inside. So we always deliver things clearly, precisely, intentionally, but not with force, control, not with hesitation, fear, concern. And the balance is also between us. We put ourselves first because we are the only ones that know ourselves, that can know ourselves. Some of us don't even know ourselves, but we are the only ones that can know ourselves and then express what we know of ourselves and our needs. That's our responsibility. We put ourselves first because we love ourselves, but we also recognize that in order for anyone else to communicate with us effectively, to give us what we want, or any collaborations or relationships or projects or just day-to-day interactions, well, that is on us. So we put ourselves first when we're communicating with others, but we also practice balance because we remember that it's not black or white, it's not push or pull. When we get into a push-pull energy, that is what we attract to in our environment with the people that are interacting with us. So we practice the eye level balance. Put myself first, but I'm gonna speak. And as long as I put myself first, I speak clearly, intentionally, with regulation, then however you respond, it's not my problem, but I'm also going to be conscious, aware, and observant of what I'm sensing from you, and I will keep my high intention in mind, and I will just guide and navigate as we continue to engage with each other. We start to practice and learn how to be sharp, but without being aggressive, how to be soft without being inferior and passive. This comes with practice. So remember, it's your energy first and the rest will follow suit after. Meaning don't start with seeing my examples and focusing and memorizing the things to say. Focus on your energy first. Do the foundational layers I talked about. Remember, it's intention, breathing, and balance. Get my flow blueprint to understand these principles more. It's in the description below. But remember, it's how we're thinking and feeling in real-time moments will affect and guide our delivery afterwards. And the breath is the way to help us guide our thoughts and emotions to where we want them to be. Then we can start practicing the delivery. When we want to be direct and sharp, the breath is really important here because, and I can relate to this because I used to be sharp and be very forceful. When I'm sharp and really forceful, and sometimes I still get into these modes, it's a lot of energy. I am drained. People that are listening to me feels overwhelmed. So what I do is I practice keeping lightness inside me. So when I speak like this, I'm sharp, but I'm breathing, so my tone is actually a bit more lifted, so I can speak with precision. I can speak with clarity, but I'm not using a lot of force. I'm speaking with sharpness, and even in the ways I'm speaking, you can hear me now. You can tell that I'm conscious. I'm conscious of my words, and I'm precise with it, and it's not a reactive type of sharpness. Because if I'm reactively sharpening, it's like, if I'm really, I'm not even thinking. If I'm reactively sharp, then it's a lot of force, and I don't really know what I'm saying, I'm just reactive. But when I talk like this, when I'm sharp and I'm intentional and I'm precise, then this allows me to be clear and conscious about the words I'm saying. And I'm also aware of myself before I start to get anxious, tense, or I dip into passive aggressiveness. I take moments to breathe because I remember my intention is to speak with confidence, yet be heard well too. And with being soft and direct, it's similar. We just keep the breath going, but the biggest one with softness is also just slowing down. Slowing down so we can talk softly, gently, but we maintain confidence in our delivery too, both confidence and consciousness. A lot of times we start to dip into people pleasing or inferiority because as we're talking soft, we start to look at the people's faces and we start to overthink on them, and then our softness kind of turns into timidness or apprehension. So as we're talking, we want to practice looking people in the eye and slowing down and incorporating just thoughtfulness as we're talking soft. And again, the dynamics help so that we don't get reactive again. We don't, at some point, we have nothing to say, but we mask by over talking. If we really don't have anything to say or we need some time to process, we allow ourselves to just suddenly take a pause, think, and we'll even say, let me process this for a minute. Or Interesting. And when we maintain consciousness in ourselves, whether we're speaking directly soft or sharp, and we're breathing, then we're actually much better at speaking our true thoughts and emotions too. All of these practices are to help us learn how to actually express ourselves directly. Proof is in your own experience, but this just shows that whatever's going on the inside, our inner being, directly influences our experiences, our reality, and other people on the outside. I have a lot more content talking about inferiority and superiority and eye level balance, so you can check it out on my YouTube and my podcast. You guys can get my flow blueprint with all of my key principles and practices documented. And you guys can also book one-on-one coaching with me. You guys can book a one-on-one session with me. It's also in the description below. Jump on my lives when you see me go on live on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for being here, whether you're tuning in from my YouTube or my podcast. And I will see you guys next time. Don't forget, when in doubt, breathe and see it from a U view. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.